Hey everybody, welcome to another lecture discussion from the Center for Teaching and Learning, the library, the Multicultural Center, and the Accessibilities Office. So many of us getting together to chat, you know it must be good. This week we are talking about implicit biases. So, what are implicit biases? Thank you for asking. In our discussion, we were talking about how the that kind of inborn, that innate, that automatic feeling that we all have implicit biases. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not so good. So I'm a librarian. When you tell me that you like to read books, I like to read books. Look at that. I automatically think you're probably awesome and we are going to be friends. Fantastic. Works the opposite way, though. And this is obviously a mild example, but let's say you don't like to read books. Sure, whatever. We all have our own preferences. I don't really care. You tell me you hate books and you want to close libraries down? No, I have an automatic instinctive. I'm now filled with rage. Don't do that. Uh, if you're going to be mean and terrible and upset other people, plan to do that. Mean to do it. Be purposeful. If you're just accidentally floating around out there in the world being a jerk for no particularly good reason, I mean, what's the point to that? Why bother? Get a hold of your implicit biases. We all need to do this. So I'm going to share my screen here for a minute. And the idea with implicit biases is that identify yours because again we all have them. Look, I grew up a white girl from the cornfield in central Illinois. What I did not know about other people, what I did not know about other cultures, what I did not know about life itself, good grief, staggering amounts of things I did not know, and it made me very open to the possibilities of all the things I do not currently know. But I can't just say, well, you know, I was born this way and just leave it at that. How silly. How silly would that be? No, instead, we work on identifying our implicit biases and then we work to overcome them. Remember when I said don't be a jerk on accident? Be mean to somebody if you mean it, but don't just let your implicit biases kind of take over. That what's that? That's just silliness. I'm scrolling through this article slowly. This is from Scientific America. I'm a fan of theirs. They talk in here about the implicit associations test. I'm not linking to that just because I don't have enough understanding to really know whether this is useful to you. I don't know. And what I've read about it seems iffy. So I don't I don't feel like that's something that I'm going to share with you with good information, but instead, we're scrolling. Um, the idea though that everybody can get better. You're alive. You're here. Clearly, I mean, you want to be a better person, right? I mean, what is the point to life if we're not being good to other people, except those occasional jerks out there? But be a good person, right? Why not do it? But it's implicit bias training. Just being aware of it is not enough. Just being aware that in our society, people with stereotypically black names are less likely to get hired than people with stereotypically white names. That's so objectively stupid. But just knowing that, I mean, I hope we're all in agreement on that. I mean, that's just that makes no sense. But we have to, well, now what do we do? What do we do? How do we get over that? It's worth thinking about. It's worth working on it for yourself. So this article from Harvard Business Review, it's got a lot of interesting ideas. Sorry, and I'm trying not to go too fast. I know it makes people dizzy if you go too fast. Talking about the unconscious bias training, the implicit bias training, um, and you know, being being clear in ourselves and saying, you know what? I have not hired someone who has a stereotypically black name. I'm going to now be aware of that and I'm going to work to overcome that. I have not done something else. I'm the one that has all the power to make myself a better person. I don't know. I've talked to people who've said, well, I just am from that kind of culture. I grew up in this where we all thought like this, and what are you going to do? I just said, I grew up in a cornfield. I hope I hope not that I'm a better person, but that I'm better educated and have better knowledge and I'm ready to, be better in the way that I treat other people. Maybe, that your great grandfather was an awful person and your grandfather was an awful person and your father was an awful person. And so it's okay for you to be an awful person. It's really not. And that's kind of embarrassing to even think that, I think. Yeah, my grandmother was an awful person. My mom's not an awful person, but maybe I'm a little bit nicer. Maybe if we all just keep working on being a little bit better. This training is from UCLA, from their, so I'm trying to read this, Equity and Diversity and Inclusion. So read through here and think about, hey, how could I overcome my implicit biases? If I'm going to be a jerk to somebody, how do I, not just instinctively without thinking it, just be a jerk to a group of people who didn't deserve it. I'm only going to be a jerk to this one specific person, and it's because they deserved it. I've thought it through. I'm not doing it accidentally. I meant it. Implicit biases, they're not great for any of us. And I don't know. I feel bad. I feel bad about myself when I realize my own implicit biases. And I've tried to do some work on the over the years in trying to get past some of this. Again, I mean, we're all born the way we're born. I said, I mean, I was a white girl in a cornfield. I never saw anybody who wasn't a white girl in a cornfield until a long time into my life. Sure. I mean, that's kind of embarrassing for me, but I hope that I'm better. I hope that I'm getting better. Just going to add, because I'm a librarian, this is the library. One of the really good ways to get past a lot of implicit biases is to read more books. Now, I know I just said I am biased in that, and I am, but there is good research to show that the more books you read, the more fiction you read, the more you can get into other people's heads, explore the way other people do things. It makes us better. It makes us more empathetic. It makes us a little bit more understanding of how other people are. Genuinely, there is a ton of research that shows this. If you think you might want to try a few new books, you should talk to me. Or, hey, go to the public library, find something good. There are good books out there. There are ways for all of us to get better. And again, I feel like I've said this a few times already, but I mean, literally, what is the point to life? What are you doing if you're not trying to get better and you're not trying to treat other people better and you're not trying to make, I mean, not only our community here, but I mean, the community at large? What are you doing if you're not trying to make it better? It's kind of what we're all here for, isn't it? Otherwise, I mean, what is the point? All right. Over the next couple of weeks, maybe work on identifying some of your own implicit biases. And I mean, you don't have to call me and tell me. It's fine. It could be for you. Work on some strategies for identifying, hey, you know what I just did? That was acting on my implicit biases. Hmm, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to overcome that. I'm getting better. And join us in our next discussion, which is Tuesday, October 29th. We're going to be discussing supporting LGBTQ plus students. I think it'll be fun. I hope you join us there. And if you can't make it, we will have this same video posted afterwards. All right. I will see you then. Bye-bye.